Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here, and you are very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. So last night we had massive breaking news that Warner Brothers would not be at Hall H in this year's San Diego Comic-Con. This is unprecedented, and this is a really passive-aggressive move from Warner Brothers. Many DCEU fans are not happy. Thousands of dollars have been raised so the Snyder movement could have billboards and things going across the sky, and there will be no Warner Brothers people there. There will not be a panel for Warner Brothers. Now, this is really interesting because we were really excited. We thought we might get a full trailer at San Diego Comic-Con of Wonder Woman 1984. I know that very shortly we are going to get a Birds of Prey trailer. In terms of marketing, this doesn't hurt the DC films at all. I think that the Joker movie, there's some kind of horror convention or whatever it is, and they could have a second trailer there. But basically, they can still put out posters and trailers without San Diego. Now, if you normally go to San Diego Comic-Con, it's a big event for you. I've never been. But if you do go there, it's massive for you. And I can understand why you may be gutted, because Warner Brothers do a great kind of spread there. And it's a great atmosphere, and they always make an effort. So why aren't they going there this year? I think they want to avoid answering certain questions. There's no question about it. They do not want to answer the Wonder Woman 1984 question. This is the film that's going to change the whole universe forever, and they don't want to have to lie to people. I spoke yesterday about DCEU fans passive-aggressively putting kind of an interview from Matt Reeves saying that Ben Affleck would play the Batman, probably. Well, they don't want to be put in that position. So instead of having to lie and not say certain things, I think maybe this is better. But also, do I think they did this purposely because they knew the presence of the Snyder movement and what they were planning? Yes. I remember back in 2012, 2011, 2013, when Warner Brothers were fighting to keep the Superman trademark, when the heirs of the creators, the Siegels and Schuster families, were fighting to take that back off Warner Brothers. And Warner Brothers did do some very intelligent moves tactically to fight that. And in the end, they won. And then that's when Man of Steel was greenlit, and the rest is history. And I think they know they have a fight on their hands. They do not want to release the Snyder Cut. And the Snyder Cut movement has made themselves noticed with general audiences. It's been a big success. Not in terms of getting the release of the cut, but showing people that we're there, that we want this cut, that what happened to Zack was so wrong. And we keep on projecting their wrongdoings. And, of course, they don't want that advertised. Of course, there's nothing they can do about that. So I think they have not crippled what the movement had planned, but certainly they've dumbed it down a bit. So in that aspect, it's a very clever move. I know a lot of you won't like me saying this, but for me, it doesn't bother me. And they're so clever and so smart. What did they do as soon as this was announced? They got Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot, right, through their social media accounts to post a brand new poster of Wonder Woman 1984. And it's brilliant. She's wearing all gold. It looks like a new uniform. Correct me if I'm wrong. And it's bright multicolours. I don't know if they're the colours of the rainbow. I don't know if that's kind of a coincidence because it's Pride Month or not, but it's awesome anyway. It's a wonderful poster, and you should definitely check it out. If you haven't seen it, it's all over the internet. And just go on Twitter and follow Gal Gadot or Patty Jenkins. So I'm excited by seeing that poster, but as I say, I think they want to avoid certain questions. And I think we did have a panel for Wonder Woman 1984 last year, but we could have had a panel for Birds of Prey this year. So I suppose it's a shame. Is it an opportunity missed? No. Let's think back to San Diego Comic-Con when the Justice League casts were there. Do you remember? Did that help the Justice League movie make more money? No. Did it help with the issues of Justice League? No. Marketing and San Diego are not the same thing. That is just a celebration of fandom. And in that element, it's a shame that Warner Brothers won't go there. And it's an unparalleled shock. I must admit, I was being told by certain sources this was happening about 2 or 3 days ago, and I didn't speak about it because I thought it was bullshit. You see, I don't print bullshit, Louis Centeno. I don't come out and say things that I'm not sure about. So basically, I didn't come out and say it because I thought, no way. But then last night it was confirmed, and it does send shockwaves through the fan community. But this is the power they have. They don't have to come to Hall H. I think it's the first time in history they've ever come to Hall H, I think. But if you remember rightly, after Avengers Infinity War, Kevin Feige announced that Marvel Studios would also not be coming to Hall H. And I think this is a similar issue. Although we just haven't had a film with a big cliffhanger, I think it's an issue of them not wanting to field these uncomfortable questions. Would they be asked about the Snyder Cut? Well, I think the questions are fielded anyway. I don't think you can ask whatever you want and they just ignore you, basically. They basically select the questions by people they know who are not going to kind of go that direction. But never mind about that. This is a very interesting situation. It also lends to the rumour that they really don't want to expand on their kind of list of films that they'll be releasing in the next 5 years. They don't want to give us that. They're still in the planning phase. So again, that's very interesting. So my thoughts on no Hall H for Warner Brothers this year. A great tactical move by the studio. It does dent a little bit what the Snyder movement were trying to do, if that was their aim. But ultimately, I feel they just didn't want to answer the Wonder Woman 1984 questions. We all know what's going to happen in that film. We don't know what's going to happen, but we do know it's going to change the franchise forever. And who knows what other DC characters we're going to see in that film. So very excited about that film, loving the poster, and I don't think it's a big deal. And I think people who try and say this is a stupid move by them, it's going to hurt Wonder Woman 1984, it's going to hurt Birds of Prey, it's going to hurt the Joker movie, I don't agree, and I think that's just people's agenda saying that. Now this morning I saw someone post a video from a press conference held by the Fox CEO when they were promoting the Logan movie, and she said some very interesting things. Should we take a listen?
Think about the superhero genre. Are we hitting peak superhero genre? Like, can we have every movie every weekend be a superhero?
Well, one of the things that I'm so proud of at Fox is, and it sounds silly and highfalutin, but we do talk about how to differentiate our product from the competition and where these stories would naturally evolve. So that Deadpool could be as irreverent and self-knowing and cheeky as it was by design. It was saying, how can we differentiate ourselves? What can we do that they can't do? They can't do an R-rated superhero movie. It would destroy the castle. When we've got a movie coming up called Logan, which is the last Wolverine film, and inside and maybe even outside of the company, but probably more inside, there was real consternation about the intensity of the tone of the film, and that it's more of an elegy about life and death. And the paradigm for it is a Western, and my colleagues were up in arms. It needs to be wisecracking, cigar chomping, mutton chops, sporting Wolverine. And the debate internally then became, but isn't that freaking boring? Isn't it exciting to imagine that Wolverine is a real guy and he's world weary and he doesn't want to fight anymore until a little girl needs him? And so we're trying to acknowledge that the form is valid, but that within that form, great creativity is required.
Well, I tell you what, that's a brilliant piece of dialogue. That's brilliant views by this lady. Now, I don't know her name. I know she was. I don't know if she was the CEO of Fox. She certainly was someone who was making the big decisions. I don't know her name. I don't know who she is. This is a lady a lot of us in the DCEU fandom would love to take over the position that was basically vacated by what's his name? The guy who destroyed Justice League. What's his bloody name? Anyway, Kevin Sujihara, that's him. God, I'm terrible with names, isn't I? Bad memory, getting old. So anyway, she said some very interesting things that I want to analyse. I want to analyse the fact that it's funny, actually. She didn't say the name Logan. She could almost be talking about Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. Where was she when we needed her? And I've said it before, the problem with BVS and the mainstream audience, they thought they were getting a proper mainstream kind of Avengers movie, and actually they got this indie, gritty, realistic kind of real-world movie. So if you think you're getting something, you get something else. I love fruit pastels, and if you give me some kind of substitute that's not as good, I'm going to throw my toys out the pram, and that's what happened. It's not necessarily that Batman v Superman wasn't a good movie, because it was, as far as I'm concerned. It was people didn't get what they thought they were going to get, and that's Warner Brothers' fault for not being honest with the public with what they were going to get. And this lady says some interesting things, because she said her colleagues were up in arms because she wanted to do a real-world Wolverine film, him being weary and not wanting to fight anymore until he meets a little girl who needed him. That's very interesting. So how do I feel about that? And she basically called, and I also love what she says about, it being a generic movie that's boring. I love how honest and open. This is what we needed at Warner Brothers at the time of Batman v Superman and Man of Steel. But there was no one with the guts to actually say this. So she says now she doesn't mention Disney, but she says basically what we're doing with these R-rated movies, Disney and Marvel Studios can't do. It will break the castle. If you go back in the past to my videos, you will see and hear me saying the same thing. This woman is a very intelligent lady, and she would be brilliant at Warner Brothers, but we really needed her at the time of BVS and MOS. But let me tell you what I think about this. Not all superhero films should be realistic and gritty, and not all superhero films should be kind of generic, wish fulfillment, fun movies. There needs to be a balance struck. So, for example, Batman can be gritty, he can be real world, he can be the great detective, he can be a real guy, basically deciding to do what he does. But in terms of Superman, and I still love MOS, it is in reality, it is a real world Superman, but I think Superman, when I think about Batman and Superman, I'm obviously a mad Superman fan, but I've never fantasized, not even as a kid, about being Batman. But all my life, I've wanted to be Superman. Why? I've always wanted to be from another planet. I never wanted to be from my family, because I think my family are nuts. So basically, the wish fulfillment of coming from another planet, having this kind of destiny, being able to fly, shoot laser from my eyes, having ultimate strength. They were my wish fulfillments as a kid. That's what made me fall in love with Superman. When people say Superman's not relatable, Superman is wish fulfillment. Wonder Woman is wish fulfillment. Batman can be real world. And there's so many other characters out there in the DC universe that can be real world. All you have to do is strike a balance. And I think if Snyder had done this and struck this balance and said, all right, okay, I can compromise here. Superman's wish fulfillment. Batman isn't. Batman's real world. Then when you get Batman v Superman, you get wish fulfillment versus the real world. How awesome would that have been? Not that I don't like what Snyder already did. The point is, in life, if you strike a balance and you compromise just a little bit, so you bring everyone into the table and you can please more people, then you don't. But as I say, if we had this lady at the time of Batman v Superman, she would have came out honestly. She would have promoted the film honestly. And the audience would have known what they were going to get. And more people would have come to see it. And it would have been made more money. And nobody would have been trolling the movie. And we would never have got the poisonous atmosphere we did. So what do you think about all this? What do you think about No Hall H for Warner Brothers at San Diego Comic-Con this year? Do you agree with me? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think it's a marketing blunder? What do you think about this interview from this Fox CEO talking about what she wanted from Logan? And Would she be a good fit at Warner Brothers? I absolutely think so. Go and get her, WB. So thanks everyone. Please like, share and subscribe. And I'll see you again later.